Welcome to the Wendy Sashimi Podcast, where I keep it raw and real. If you haven't yet, follow on Spotify so that you can stay updated on the latest episodes weekly. If you've been listening, do me a solid and rate me 5 stars. How do you do that? There are 3 dots on the right side of the bell and settings icon. Rate this podcast, 5 stars, submit. Boom. Thank you. Much appreciated. Season 3, Episode 3, On Grief. 1 year since Bravo passed. Bravo was one of my best friends who died a year ago of liver cancer at age 34. In this episode, I'll be talking about grief of losing a loved one, what I have learned about myself, sharing a lot of feelings, because that's who I am, and hopefully this will help you in dealing with your grief, although I know everyone deals with grief differently. I'm not a therapist, not a grief expert. I'm simply a regular human being who wants to see more content on grief and how to help people. I don't think we talk about grief enough. And to be honest, this was the first time I lost someone super close to me. I mean, my grandma died and I was sad, but that was when I was in college and she died of old age. She also called me my other cousin's name, so that annoyed me. Anyway, RIP grandma, love you. Yeah, so I never really had anyone close to me pass, so this was a complete shock. And no one around me really knew how to talk about grief. I had a few folks, shout out to Angelo Colo, who was the most helpful in helping me talk about grief, get through grief, and understand grief more. I'm going to share my own experience and how I dealt with grief of losing one of my best friends a year ago. And it was very traumatic. About February 18th, a year ago, my whole world shook. That morning, I got an offer from Google from another team. I was super ecstatic. I worked with my friends from Mountain View that day, and shout out to Tal and Esther for taking me out to Kunjip, which is really good Korean food. It was so delicious. And then on my long drive back to Oakland from Mountain View, I get a text from Bravo, and he asked me what I was doing. Now, at this point, I haven't seen Bravo in about a month and a half, and I knew he was having some health problems. He got sick a lot, but it seemed like we were just busy and our schedules didn't collide. But something something in my heart knew that it wasn't good news. So I tried to pace myself, drove home, then he FaceTimed me. I saw him in a hospital with tubes up his nose. And they discovered that he had stage 4 liver cancer that spread to his lungs. So just like how it just hit me there, it hit me when he was talking on the phone with me of surprise. I mean, the first question that came to mind was, how did we get here? We hung out almost every month for 2 years, and we had no idea until the month before he woke up and he couldn't breathe. He went to St. Mary's Hospital in San Francisco. They did an x-ray on him and said, oh, you're fine. Just go home and take Tylenol. One of the key things that I really want people to notice is when you go to the doctors, if they tell you go home and take Tylenol, but you feel terrible, advocate for yourself or advocate for someone you know who is at the hospital, doesn't feel well. Like, it is not normal to wake up and can't breathe. Fast forward a couple months after he passed, we actually obtained his x-ray records, or his family did. And in the notes, it did show that the cancer was metastasizing. It did show he had cancer, but it was overwritten because he was young. And I've heard this story so many times with other people. And that's why people die young of cancer. It's fucked up. And the sad part, besides of young people dying of cancer and not knowing it, and hospitals, doctors having malpractice is that you can't sue them for it. You could, but not many lawyers will take it on. We've tried. It's really sad because it's not worth their time or there's not enough evidence. Really fucked up. When he FaceTimed me, in my head, I was like, okay, be positive, be positive. And he said, don't worry, we'll get through this. I'll be in Arizona for 9 months. I probably can't see you. And then I told him, I'm going to see you every single month. I work from home on Mondays and Fridays. I'm going to see you on extended weekends. I'm going to see you, bitch. I remember I did say that. I'm going to see you, bitch. And he was like, and Bravo was actually someone who had a lot of anxiety. Before he passed, he found out he was autistic, which explained a lot. But he was super happy and relieved because it explained a lot. And he understood himself better. And honestly, I think it was his gift. And that's why we got so close, because he wasn't afraid to be vulnerable. He just said whatever was on his mind. Or 14 days later, he passed. I'm not going to get too much into the details because you can listen to my past episode where it was really raw and real a year ago. I learned a lot about myself and how I deal with grief. And the number one thing is that you shouldn't deal with grief alone. I know I said everyone deals with grief differently, but we're human beings, and I've seen a bunch of grief videos by now. The number one thing is that, yeah, take your time to be alone in certain times, but ultimately, you shouldn't have to deal with grief alone. I understand that some people have no one to deal with grief with, and my sympathy goes out to y'all. But if you can, maybe on Reddit or your neighbor or even in my comments section, feel free to talk about maybe some of the grief you're going through and see how the community shows up for you. And I'll definitely see those comments. So yeah, I hope this is a resource for you. For me, I had a group of friends also who went through, also the ones who went to the hospital with me to see Bravo, and I've kept in touch with his family, and we text or call each other sometimes to talk about him. And yeah, it really helps to talk about him and cry together. I think at times I'm like, no, be strong. I can't. But fuck, it's a really sad thing that someone you loved so deeply died so young. And maybe it could have been preventable. So yesterday was a really tough day for me. And I knew the day was coming. But when I woke up that morning, I felt it in my body. I felt heavy. First, I was like, oh, is it my period? Possibly too, that. But it was mainly the grief that just all came back to me. Your body is a vessel of trauma that things just come up. So I felt really heavy. I think I kind of knew, so I didn't sign up for yoga that morning. I typically do yoga Wednesday mornings. And it was raining a lot and super cold in the Bay Area. So it was just, everything was just the vibes of doom and gloom. And for the first time in a long time, I decided to just stay in my room. Granted, I have all this space. I have 2 bedrooms. I have a big living room and dining room, and I'm usually walking outside, or I'm usually out somewhere. But this is the first time in a long time where I just said to myself, Wendy, you've been on the go for a long time and you need to rest. You need to just stay put, cry, at least feed yourself, and stay in this room and keep it warm because it's fucking cold. And that's what I did. I don't think I've done that since I used to be hungover in my 20s, honestly. Like, I I usually don't hang out in my bedroom. Like some people usually eat in their beds, work on their laptops in their beds, do everything in their bed, which is great. That's good for them. But for me, I was having sleep problems, and experts say that you should only do two things in your bed: sleep and sex. This latter is not happening. So for me, it's just sleep. So yeah, once I wake up, I get out and I'm out until I have to go to sleep. So this is the first time, and my bed's pretty comfortable. So, and it was nice. I ordered DoorDash. Jollibees is one of his favorites. He was very Filipino, but he ate it almost every week. Jollibees is so good though. I had the spaghetti, the joy chicken. It did bring me joy. Of course, the mashed potatoes and cracked gravy. And I tried the mac and cheese. Didn't really like that, but whatever. Yeah, it was a really good meal. But even that, I couldn't eat in my bed. I had to eat in the windowsill, sitting on another seat. Yeah, I'm really weird about eating in my room too, because the food smells and then it gets all my shit and stuff. But anyway. So yeah, I just took the day to cry, honor him. I wrote a bunch of Instagram stories because also, once again, I feel like we don't talk about grief enough. And it was really touching to get messages from folks. Sorry I haven't gotten to you yet, but I will. Really supportive messages from my friends and other people who's like, hey, thanks for talking about grief. We don't really hear people talk about that often. So yeah, I hope in sharing my story, it helps other people as well. I really wanted to make this episode because I know a lot of people are dealing with grief right now, whether it's losing a loved one or grieving your old life. If you, particularly me, quit your corporate job, or a life that you thought you should have had, but then realize you didn't want that and it wasn't making you happy. People are grieving the world. The world is in flames. Lots of shit happening, ice tearing families apart. You just feel grief all around. I want to encourage people to feel those feelings of grief. Feel all of it. Don't shun it away. Don't think it's negative. Feel it. Because it's a gift. That means you're human. And let it propel you to do something about it. Also, one thing, yesterday, I let myself not be positive, which is really different because I'm usually a very positive person. And I feel like once we deal with a bad emotion, we tend to try to look at a positive outlook on it or something positive to get yourself out of it. But for the first time in a while, even freshly dealing with the grief of Bravo passing, I did let myself just be sad. But this time, I really was like, you know what? Fuck it. You don't have to be positive all the time. Just let yourself be fucking sad. It's okay to not be okay. So yesterday, I let myself be fucking sad, eat Jollibees, talk to a couple of people I felt super safe with and who went through that situation with me and who also loved Bravo. And then the next day rolled around, still raining. My body still felt kind of heavy. And I was like, damn, do I go through another day of this? And I was looking through posts on grief and, deciding, should I just be with myself today again? Or do I go out and synergize with other people? Or like, what would energize me? Or what did I need? You don't always have to be energized when dealing with grief. I was like, okay, maybe let's just do another day of just staying in bed. Fuck it. But I did sign up for my typical Thursday morning yoga class, but maybe I'll just skip it. And then I felt it in my chest that was like, no, Wendy, remember all the times when you dragged yourself out, you did an hour of yoga, you weren't on your phone, and afterwards you felt great. and you chatted with Michael and Dorothy and Uni, and it made you feel really good. I think I had only an hour before class. I also have to eat. I always have to eat before class, even if it's just something small like a piece of sliced bread with butter. So it was like class was at 10 a.m. It was 9 a.m. I woke up at like 7:38 and it was 9 a.m. and I was like, wait, I need to rub one out because I've been kind of horny lately. Actually really horny. So rubbed one out. I was like, all right, got my endorphins going. A little messy. Need to go shower real quick. Put on some sunscreen at least. Didn't have to put on eyeliner. Who am I? Who do I need to impress? Nobody. And then ate my slice of bread, got out of there, made it 10 minutes before class. And yeah, I felt great. Talked to my friends there. It's my little community I have at yoga. And then I think I was toggling to go to Tea on Piedmont to read one of my books and do some work there. But then I was like, I don't really feel like seeing people, and it was a Thursday, and it's pretty busy, and don't really feel like being in all that mess. So I got myself out for a bit, but I honored myself in needing to come back home in my safe space and doing what I needed to do to take care of myself. And that's the beauty of being 36. I really, really know myself, which is amazing. I think if this was me even 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I need to go here. I need to go there. I need to do this. I need to do that. And then I would have just felt so burnt out. But now I can listen to my body, or I know more of what I need when I'm dealing with grief or anything really. Grief is proof that you loved deeply. And I know that Bravo wouldn't want me to be sad for long. He would want me to live my best queer ass life. He was sweet, kind, considerate, funny in a very like dorky way. He wanted to quit his toxic corporate tech job to do more good in the world. He wanted to go back to school to become a therapist to help people. He was an advocate for Palestine against the genocide. We'd go to protests and rallies together. He truly wanted to build a better world, and I was excited to build that with him, but I'll do that in his honor. He wasn't afraid to ask questions. He would always say, hey, boo, can I ask you a question? And then he would ask me some profound ass question. I was like, damn, I wish I was autistic. And yesterday, one of my good friends, Katie, called me. Shout out to Katie. Love you. She just knew. I texted her that yesterday was rough, and she said, hey, I'll call you after class, even though she's busy with vet school stuff. And she FaceTimed me, and she told me how she's seen a white butterfly every single day that she got back to Granada. He definitely sends us signs. We hear Bravo a lot. When Randy and I were at the car rental place in Denver, Colorado last year, the guy who was giving us our keys was like, okay, and your car's at lane B for Bravo. We're like, what? And I've seen blue birds, the one that looks like my tattoo, around, which is pretty rare. We only see crows here. And so today I was like, bitch, send me a sign. Send me a sign that you're still looking over me. And I don't know why. I think I was talking about CoStar with Anna last weekend. And I was like, oh, I haven't looked at that app in a while. So I thought about it today and I re-downloaded it. And I forgot that we were linked on here. It said, John feels content with themselves today. Push them out of their comfort zone with unnerving questions. I really hope you're having fun up there in heaven, bitch. I love you. I miss you. And here I am making content. He was my number one supporter. He'd send me a photo every time he watched my podcast on his big ass TV. So my face looked huge, and I was like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. And that's why I continue to make content. All right, so if anything to take out of all of this, 1, let yourself feel all the feels. Cry, scream, let it all out. Hold nothing back. 2, take care of yourself. Eat, drink water. Drink a lot of water. I have one of these alkaline waters I got from Costco, and I've drinking like 2 of them in like a day and a half. Walk a little bit. Try to get some air if you can. Don't push yourself over the limit there, but I found that engaging a bit in nature really helped. And 3, tell someone you love and feel safe with that you need to talk to them, cry, or just hug. You don't even need to do much. Like, I also texted Randy if I could come over and just hug him. But after I talked to Katie, I felt much better. So I think it's super important to be vocal in what you need and not be afraid to tell your friends and family that. Like, don't be. I think if they're your friends and your family who love you, you won't seem like a burden. And I think if anything that helps them open up to you if they need support and makes your connections deeper. And that's what I'm trying to do more. I know for the past year, I've actually pushed some people away and I needed to do that to protect my energy and love y'all, but I had to do what I needed to do. But this year I am inviting more loving energy. And if folks are giving me that, then I will give that back. So yeah, hope this podcast episode helped you. Try to edit through my crying. To be honest, I actually feel a lot better talking about it more. Take it easy. Remember to follow next week's episode. Peace easies, Wendy Sashimi.